Hi folks, thanks for spending some time with me again today. We're looking at number 46 in the first studies of the Arban book, and this is on page 18 in the edition that I have, the Houghton Marotta edition. This is a very powerful exercise, and so let's explore this and see what we can find and how to use this to improve your playing. And there are many ways to use it to improve your playing. All it is arpeggios, and playing arpeggios is some of the best stuff that you can do to improve your trumpet playing. I'll go ahead and play a few lines of it, and I have to pick a certain style. So I'm going to follow the directions. It says sempre staccato, which we talked about before is separated, detached. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to pick a certain speed. So those are my musical parameters that I'm aiming at. The suggested tempo is in this edition is between 60 and 92 to the half note. And that's very flexible. You can do whatever you want to with it. So let's see what I come up with. So you get the idea. I'm changing the articulation style. Now that might be a little bit confusing at first, and if it is, simply go for something that you want to get this sound. You want to have that nice crisp sound, for example, of a staccato, and see if you can get it to sound the way you want. So you're building ingredients that you're going to use to play music later on. Now there's something obvious that happens in this exercise. First of all, you're playing through all the keys. So if you're less familiar with some keys, spend more time practicing them. Okay, your teachers have probably told you that. That's pretty simple. But there are no difficult keys. There are only keys that we're less familiar with. So if you don't spend a lot of time playing in D flat, or E flat minor, or whatever, you're going to have a lot more trouble with it because your body's just not used to it, and your ear's not used to it. So he takes you through the whole, circle the fourths here, through all the major keys. And of course, if you're a jazz player, there are myriad possibilities for patterns. But we need to remember, what are we working on here? Are we just trying to learn how to play in the different keys? Sure, that's great. Or are we working on sounding better on the trumpet and having better physical control so it's more fun and easier to play? So that's where I tend to go, is like, can we make music out of this? Is this doing it? Is this expressing anything? And how easy is it for me to do that physically? Pretty much everything on the trumpet can be a challenge, so be kind to yourself as you're working on this. There are several things that I want to address today, and one is, it's not just about the attack. We think attack. First of all, that word is just, that's aggression. Well, okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Aggression is not evil in and of itself. It can be evil, or it can be very positive. It's just energy. So we think about the energy at the front of the note. Also hear the shape of the note, and hear the energy through the note, which is what creates the shape, and hear the release of the note. How am I releasing the note? So if I play these to practice, stop tonguing like I might use as an ingredient in playing in a big band. It's got a very aggressive, percussive, a lot of power, a lot of energy in that, and that's why it fits that some of the style that we use in the big band, for example. For classical music, we don't usually play like that, and it doesn't always have to be beautiful, but it just there's something that in the character of that stop tongue, which is a little bit rough. See, that's expression. It's not wrong. It's just a different expression. So I'm strongly advising you, encouraging you to listen for the character of what you're doing and see if you can imagine the character that you want. And then do you hear that coming out of the bell or not? That's basically it. So there are tons of things that you can do with this exercise. For one, if you learn the keys, so that playing in different keys is no obstacle to you whatever. As you're playing through, you're not going to be flubbing the fingerings, and you're not going to be hesitating, halting because you missed something, or thinking about, oh, I played the wrong note. If that's no issue, you can use this as a great endurance exercise. And not only endurance, but breath control. Play continuously from the beginning of the exercise to the end. Choose a tempo and just play all the way through. Now, for most of you, that's going to be a challenge. I think for most trumpet players, that would be a challenge. I could tell you some stories, as I often say, but I'm not going to right now. There's some interesting ones about this kind of playing. So doing this every once in a while to kind of see where you are in terms of your endurance is very helpful. What usually happens is the skills start to break down when we become fatigued. And then it kind of cascades, and then pretty soon, if at its worst, there's no sound coming out of the horn and we're bleeding and all kinds of bad things are happening. So be kind to yourself when you're doing this. Another way to do it is play one line at a time and cadence into the next key. So for example, if I finish the first line, and you can even hold that as a whole note. Now, I'm going to give you another technique that I use a lot when I'm practicing. I might stop, stop's the wrong word. Just like attack is the wrong word. It's release the air, not attack the note. Not stop, but sustain the note. I sustain notes. So I'd be going along and I'm kind of randomly saying, okay, I'm going to stop here. Or I choose a note ahead of time, but I prefer to do it kind of improvisatory manner. For me, that works better. So I'll go ahead and do it at the beginning. You'll see exactly what I mean. And I want you to try this. What am I doing? I'm seeing where I am. Am I balanced? Does it sound good? What is my body doing? Do I want to live there? Is that the way I want it to feel all the time when I'm playing? Have I felt it better than that? Has it sounded better than that? If so, you know what to do. Keep going toward what you want all the time. And so every time I sustain the note, I pause on that note and sustain it, I'm trying to regain my balance. And if I'm playing really well, I never lose my balance between the notes. So just trying to do that in this exercise can be incredibly powerful for your playing. Of course, we could talk about using a tuner. We could talk about using rhythmic variations. I want you to be creative about this. I'll give you a rhythmic variation. This is a very typical one. And you can do it this way. Or 1, 2, 3. You see, I'm playing with it. That makes it so much more fun. Now, what you're going to discover is doing certain things is more awkward, more difficult, more rough. Doesn't sound as good. It's not as fun. And that's when you need to change what you're doing or make what you're doing easier so you have some access, some kind of pathway to get where you want to go. You might not be able to do all this stuff all at once the way you'd like to. Now, one of the first things I make all my students do with this exercise is play it double forte slurred, and then double forte with different kinds of articulation. So I'm going to go ahead and just slur a little bit of it. I'm getting bored with this key, so let's do another key. Ooh, that's lower. That burns a lot of air. I need to practice that. I think I'm trying too hard. And doing that is a great place to use your sustain, your fermata technique. That you say, oh, I'm pushing too hard on the note. Oh, that note is not, I'm not providing enough flow on that note. Oh, I'm starting to choke in my throat. Oh, you know, this, and you're going to notice these different things. Now, you might notice a dozen things, and then your brain freaks out and you don't know what to do. So again, it's better to concentrate on what are you intending? What are you intending to do? What can you do that you already know how to do? And the answer is very simple. Flow smooth air consistently, constantly, that leads from one note to the next note. So you're trying to make it as smooth a connection as possible, no bumps. And that in itself is a big challenge. You'll improve your playing tremendously just by taking one line of this and seeing if you can make the transition between the notes so smooth that it feels like you're playing one continuous note. Now you're ready to add the articulation. Okay? So I hope that gives you a few ideas, and there are many, many more. You come up with your own ideas. He takes you through many keys, but of course you could practice transposition on this in the various keys. So you look at a particular key, you say, okay, I'm in this key, I'm playing C trumpet today, as you may have noticed. Yeah, oh yeah, that's a C. Sometimes I switch around. And you say, okay, I'm going to transpose that to trumpet in G flat. And I haven't done that for a long time, so that's going to feel really weird for me to do. But for practical purposes, if you're a B-flat trumpet player and you have to read out of you know, hymn books or off piano music or something like that, it could be a very great skill to develop is just playing, transposing to C trumpet or to concert pitch, generally, in all, looking at all the different keys. So you see how you need to be thinking about how can I make this challenging and how can I make it fun. To me, that's the same thing. That's the same thing. As long as the challenge doesn't become discouraging or you become overwhelmed with trying to do too much or focusing on things that are not helpful instead of on the possibility of what's there, how good it can be, how wonderful it can sound, and how great it can feel when everything's lined up. So I hope that's inspirational to you, and I hope that you'll use that energy to go and practice now. I'll see you later on. Have a great day. Bye-bye.